expeditious with this.
Well, we all have a lot to be thankful for, that's for sure.
Yes,
Wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, Frank.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Frank, when we were talking to Kedon, and Pat also talked about a little bit this too, he talked about how not everything is always on the quarterback. Sometimes guys run through us. There was one third down you guys had where Bub Means looked like he was running to clear out and just forgot to kind of look back for the ball. How do you work on timing things like that to, kind of have ways where, like, yeah, you understand that you are the clear out guy, but if they leave you open, you have to look back?
Well, you know what? Football is the ultimate team game, right? We've talked about it before. When there's a lack of execution, there's a lot of different reasons why. You try to get 11 guys playing as one. Sometimes it looks like the quarterback, when in reality, when you come in here, it might be the wide receiver, it might be the protection. There's other reasons. Now, to answer your question, how do you try to get the timing and rhythm and everyone on the same page? Is through practice. You look at a daily schedule, we come in here, we meet, we install the passes, then we go to the indoor, and we actually walk through the passes, and then we practice them. And, what happens sometimes is the human element, which we all go through, the human element of a guy's running a route, and maybe he's a step off, or maybe his eyes are just a little late sometimes. And you try to really, what you try to do is minimize the margin of error.
Right, to that point, why hasn't the pass game clicked as well as the run game this year?
Well, I do believe we're getting better. I think we're making progress. And not to be repetitive, but when we come in here on Sunday and we watch the tape, it's it's different reasons. Sometimes there's beautiful execution. Like the deep end that we threw. I mean, it was just beautiful. It couldn't be any better. Then there's plays you leave on the field. For instance, like the second play of the game, Kedon just underthrows the ball. Then there's another play, like maybe the one you referred to, Chris, where the wide receiver doesn't look at the appropriate time. Then there might be another play where you're saying, wow, we got a big play opportunity, but maybe the protection breaks down. And when you talk about the protection, it's not always the offensive line. It could be the backs in protection. For different reasons. And, we talk about, we know it's difficult, what we try to do, what the players try to do. It's not easy. But when we leave, let's use the number 10. Let's say we leave 10 good pass opportunities on the field. We got to cut that at least in half or to 2 and 3, and you keep working on it. You keep coaching. We've used this for years. As coaches, our responsibility is to teach this great game and then correct it, and players prepare to perform. And you hope to close the gap on that.
How was Kedon different / better quarterback than the day you first met him?
Wow, I tell you what, man, I see it on the tape and even today's practice. Let's just take, a few route concepts. These might not mean anything to you guys, but like dagger and Potter, and just how you can see that he knows what it looks like now. He understands the timing and the rhythm of his eyes and his feet and the ball location and the type of balls based on zone coverage and man coverage. The only way you get better is to play the game. And the more you play, the better you should get. And with that, you hope the results get better. What we have seen, and we talked about to the offense, that when November started, we had 4 opportunities left. And the one thing we always talked about in pro football was they remember what you do in November, because that's when teams separate themselves. The contenders from the pretenders. Teams either get better or they don't. And I think what you've seen with us as a team, we're 3-0 in November. Our goal is to make it 4. And as an offense, we do see progress. We strive for balance in the run game and the passing game. And there's things in the run game that could be better. It's just, to the human eye, the run game isn't as exposed as the passing game. Because believe me, there's some combinations on the front side and the back side. If we do a few things a little better, we got some runs popping out too. So, it's the ultimate team game. It starts with myself. It starts with the coaches. And then, just getting that execution better on game day.
You had an offensive line that went through a lot this year with injuries and
Certainly.
reshuffling and whatnot. Now you have Owen back. where have you noticed that group taking strides at, especially given all of that turnover and all of that just reconfiguring that you've had to do? And how much does it mean to have Owen back as well?
Well, first off, Owen's a great player, a great kid. He does a great job with his IDs. He brings experience. He gets everyone on the same page. But, you brought up a good point because we've had a lot of different rotations in there. But it shows you what a great job the Coach Narduzzi and Coach Borbley and AO have done recruiting linemen and training linemen. Because as the offensive coordinator and play caller, I haven't had to blink worrying about who's playing left tackle, who's playing right tackle, who's at center. We've been very fortunate with the depth that we have up front.
What does Miami do well on defense that you guys have to game plan to counter on Saturday night?
Well, I think when you put the tape on, you just see a front four that's athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look at the linebackers, and they can run. And same with the back end, they're athletic. For instance, when you just take a look at when teams might run boots or keepers, whatever you want to call on them, they run, man. When you see their guys having to pursue to the football, you see guys that can run to the ball.
The process of play calling, it kind of intrigues me. How
Yeah.
many plays ahead are you thinking? and how quickly do you have to change? Let's say there's a sack, okay?
Yeah.
And you got to change. So I'm just now 2nd and 19 instead of 1st and 10.
You know what? That is a great question. I mean that. And we could talk all day or week on it. And I'd love to sometime because, I was brought up around my father, Mike McCarthy, and, the tree of Bill Walsh where you have the scripted openers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's a road map. You just don't go down them, but it's a road map for normal down and distance. And then you have your situational calls, whether it's third down and then different third downs. Is it short yardage? Is it third and short, medium, or long? And then once you get into the fringe, high red, low red, I mean, it's a chess match. That's as coaches, we love game planning. The X's and O's of the game, because you really try to put your players in a position to be successful. And who are you playing and how can you attack the front and the back end? Calling the play, you got to be thinking ahead and you got to think fast because things do happen fast. Mm-hmm. So somewhere, let's just say you call that first play on 1st and 10. Somewhere during that play, you're processing a few different things in your mind because am I going to be 2nd and short? Am I going to be 2nd and medium? Are we going to have a 1st down? What hash are we going to be on? And what did we just see on that last down that maybe we can take advantage of? Experience helps. Being around great coaches and coordinators, which I think I've been around great ones, helps.
Who's the best play caller you've ever been around?
Oh, Mike McCarthy.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah?
The guy sees the game. The guy understands the game. He understands how defensive fit gaps, how they react, and then how you have to go expose them, whether it's on the front end or the back end. And he would see it so well.
Well, help me out with this then. So one specific situation, the touchdown pass that you guys threw at the end of the first half.
Yes.
Duke shows single high safety. You guys have Jared running up the seam down the middle, but they ended up being in cover 2. Was that something that you guys anticipated that, hey,
Chris,
they're going to go too high here?
Chris, you know what we had? We had a call on that literally would call it a PSL,
Okay.
combination. We had a 1 high beater on one side. We had a 2 high beater on the other side.
Okay.
And when it went to 2 high, Jared and Kedon were on the same page.
I saw.
And Jared adjusted his route to take the open space. And it's there's things that happen on the field beyond coaching. And that was beyond coaching. Jared and Kedon did an unbelievable job taking what the defense gave them and bringing out the kicker for an extra point, man. I mean, that was awesome to see.
Yes, it was.
I know you've got a meeting coming up. Do we have any quick final thoughts here?
I got 2, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Maybe 1. How have you noticed Nick Patty grow this year, not just as a person, but obviously reprising the backup role and preparing that way every week? What have you seen from him this
Yeah.
season in terms of growth?
First off, very proud of him. He's handled his role as a professional. He's been very positive. He's worked very hard. I feel like he is prepared to go out there and help us win if his number's called. The quarterback room is special, man. Always has been, always will be. He does a great job in the room. He does a great job at practice. Really proud of Nick.
Right, if I may just quick one. Izzy's likely going to win the ACC rushing title. What's it been like coaching him and seeing him progress through the season? Because he's had some things he's had to battle through.
Yeah, you know, it's my first year here, so I didn't know these guys very well coming into this season. What I know about Izzy in that room is one, Coach Salem must have done a great job recruiting him. Coach Powell does a great job coaching him. Izzy's very talented. I think it might have been you, Chris, that asked me why Izzy. I said he can hit home runs. You know, he's a joy to be around. You know, he loves football. He's got a positive outlook on it. He wants to get better. As a play caller, you love being able to hand the ball to a running back that could make big things happen, right? Yeah, really happy and proud of Izzy.
One more, if you don't mind?
Sure.
What's been the most impressive part about Gavin Bartholomew to you this year? There's a lot of expectation that he'd be maybe a huge part of the receiving game. It seems like he's utilized, obviously, in the run blocking, and it seems like he's doing a little bit more of the management work underneath. What have you seen from Gavin this season?
Yeah, I tell you, that's a good analysis. He has improved his run blocking tremendously. You know, if you came to training camp and you watched our individual drills, the offensive line, the tackles and tight ends worked 15 minutes every day together just on run blocks, whether it was front side or backside combinations. He does a really good job in the passing game. I'd love to get him more touches. You know, he's a really good player. And I think what you'll see in these next 2 years is Gavin continue to develop into a total tight end. What do I mean by that? Is a guy that can play in all three phases. He can run block, he can pass protect, and he can run routes.
Frank, thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Frank.